Hey, what's going on guys? Dante Trades here, and in this video we're going to be talking about all things Lucid Trading and some cautions and warnings you definitely want to pay attention to when it comes to trading with Lucid. So we're going to do an overview of Lucid Trading rules broken down simply so they are easy to understand. We're going to be talking about account sizes and deep diving into choosing the best account for your situation. And this is super important because most people get this wrong, so you want to definitely make sure you pay attention to this part. We're going to be talking about account types, rules, and payouts, and we're going to talk about why Lucid has some of the best accounts on the market and your road to first payout, etc. I'm a six-figure trader, and if you want a 100% free futures trading course, you can get the link to that in the description. And if you want to check out the premium community, the link to that will be in the description as well. You can use the code Dante Trades to save you 35 to 50% depending on whatever discounts they're running on the website at the time. So as you can see here, the normal price for a 50K eval on Lucid is $160. But if you use that code Dante Trades, it's going to take just about $60 off of that price, and you're going to be left with only $104. And my code Dante Trades is always going to give you the biggest and best discount that they're going to be running on the website at any given time. So now we come to account sizes, leverage, and choosing the best account. So this is really important. You want to make sure that you pay attention to this section. So how we understand choosing the most valuable account and the best account for your situation. So what I like to do is I take the maximum profit goal. So starting with the 25K account, in this case, that's 1,250. And we're going to divide that by the max loss limit, which is $1,000 here. And then you're going to get this number right here, which is 1.25. Now, the lower this number, the better, right? So in this case, the base number is 1.25 with Lucid. The higher this number, the more difficult it is to pass the account. So what we're trying to do is find how difficult it is to pass the account versus how much leverage they give us for said account. This is going to give us the total value of the account. We want the account that has the best balance of passing easily, but also gives us the most leverage for how easy it is to pass. So starting with the 25K account, we have a difficulty of 1.25, and we have two contracts for the difficulty of 1.25, right? So let's go to the 50K account. Now, in this case, you can see the 50K account, we have a profit goal of $3,000. And if we divide that profit goal of $3,000 by 2,000, we have a difficulty of 1.5. We have a jump in difficulty of 25% from 1.25 to 1.5. But for that jump in difficulty of 25%, we get double leverage, right? So we get double the leverage, but only a 25% increase in difficulty. So this is actually going to be really good value on the 50K. But let's continue with the rest of the accounts so that we can find the most valuable account. Now for the 100K, you have a profit target of 6,000 and a max loss limit of 3,000. So this is going to give you the difficulty of 2. So the increase in difficulty from the 50K to the 100K is actually an additional 50% in difficulty, but you get a 50% increase in cons. So it's not as great here where you get only a 25% increase in difficulty and you get double the leverage. Here you get a 50% increase in difficulty, but you only get a 50% increase in the contracts that you can scale or the leverage, right? The last account size that they have is the 150K. Now we're going to notice something funny here, right? So you can see here on the 150K, the profit goal is $9,000. And the max loss limit is 4,500. So in this case, for the 150K, there's actually no increase in difficulty. You can see here for the 100K, it is 2 in difficulty, and the 150K, it is 2 in difficulty. But for the same amount of difficulty, you get an extra 66% increase in cons. So for me, in that case, I cannot recommend the 100K for most people. I'm going to say for most people out there, the 50K is actually going to be the most valuable account out there because again, from the base of the 25K, you only have that 25% increase in difficulty and you get double the leverage. Now, if you're just looking for max contracts and you just want to scale to the absolute moon and you have your strategy down and things like this, then I would go for the 150K because it's the same exact difficulty as the 100K, but you get a 66% increase in the contracts or the leverage that you can use. Now the 25K account is also decent as well. I would just recommend this if you just absolutely want the bare minimum easiest account to pass, but for the best value for most people out there, it's going to be the 50K. And if you're going to be just trying to scale the highest to the moon to get the most leverage possible, then I would recommend the 150K, right? So for the rest of this video, we're going to be mostly focused on the 50K. Now, pricing and discounts. Now the discounts can range from anywhere from 35 to 50% off, and you can use my code Dante Trades. As you can see here, again, for the Lucid Flex 50K account, that was $130, but if you use my code Dante Trades, it goes from $130 to only $84. So absolutely massive discounts for you guys there. Lucid has a one-time eval fee. They don't have any kind of monthly subscriptions or anything like that, and they have also no activation fee. So that's pretty much the best that you can get out there. So extremely transparent pricing. And if you do want to go with Lucid, my code Dante Trades will always get you the best discount, whether that's going to be on a holiday or any special that they're running in the future. You can use the code Dante Trades to get you the largest and best discount out there. And it also helps the channel. Now, cost comparison of Lucid versus Topstep. So Topstep has a $49 eval fee with no discounts and $150 activation. So this is going to give you a $200 total versus Lucid, how I just showed you. They have $85 in total. So Lucid has one of the lowest cost to funding right now and really favorable plans, which we are about to get into. So now we're going to talk about the Lucid Pro versus the Lucid Flex versus the Direct. So this is going to be a deep dive and really get into the intricacies of all the different plans versus each other. So what I did here was I just created this cheat sheet for you guys using the 50K accounts so you can understand the differences in the rules between every account and the product that they offer. So I'm going to break this down to you guys so you can understand which account works best for you, and then I'm going to tell you my suggestion based off your specific situation on which I think is going to work best for most people. First, let's go to the profit target. So for the Lucid 50K Pro, your profit target is going to be $3,000. For the Lucid 50K Flex, it's also going to be $3,000. Now for the Lucid Direct, this means you don't have any kind of eval or any challenge phase. So what this means is this $3,000 here is going to be where you actually have to reach every pay cycle to get a payment, right? So that's the difference between this $3,000 and that $3,000. So the maximum drawdown on all accounts, all the 50Ks, is going to be $2,000 across the board, and it's going to be $2,000 end of day trailing drawdown on both of the eval phase and also the funded phase. So this is really good. I really love end of day trailing drawdown. So this is the best possible case scenario for all of the accounts, right? Now, daily loss limit. So the daily loss limit is obviously the amount that you can lose max daily per account. So on the Pro accounts, they have a daily loss limit of $1,200. Now on the Lucid Flex, they do not have a daily loss limit here. You can see they have no daily loss limit. And on the Lucid Direct, you also have the daily loss limit of $1,200. Now for the minimum days to pass the eval, on the Lucid Pro, you can pass the eval in 1 day. So you can literally pass this in one trade. And this is why a lot of people actually go with the Lucid Pro, because you can just pass it in one trade, in 10 minutes, 15 minutes and have a funded account. Now in the Lucid Flex, you have to pass it in a minimum of 2 days. So that is the fastest that you can pass the Lucid Flex. And the Lucid Direct, obviously you're going direct to funding. So this really just doesn't apply for this account. Now, a consistency rule. For you guys who don't understand what a consistency rule is, let's just take this 50% consistency rule in the Lucid Flex just to have an example. If you have a 50% consistency rule, that just means that your winning trades need to be $1,500 or less to actually be within the range of the consistency rule. And if you go over that consistency rule, you don't lose the account. You just have to keep trading and make more wins until you fall back under that consistency rule. So the consistency rule, the Lucid Pro 50K has no consistency rule in the eval phase, but the Lucid Flex does have a consistency rule in the eval phase of 50%. That's why you can only pass within 2 days. And then the direct, obviously, that doesn't apply because this is a direct account. Now, the consistency rule in the funded. The Lucid Pro has a 40% consistency rule in the funded stage, while the Lucid Flex does not have a consistency rule in the funded stage. Now, for me personally, I would actually prefer a consistency rule in the eval stage rather than funded, because once you get into the funded stage, then you can just kind of make as much money as you want to. But just note that the consistency rule on the Lucid Pro is in the funded account, and the consistency rule on the eval is in the Flex account. Now, the consistency rule for the direct account is going to be 20%. So that is a very, very tight consistency rule and very restrictive in my opinion. I am actually a one-to-one risk to reward trader, and I actually still find this hard to actually fall within. So take that for what you will. Now we have the payout buffer. Now what the payout buffer means is, let's say for example, once you get into that funded stage, you can only take profit out above, once you make above, in this case, $2,100, then let's say you have $2,500 in your funded account, then you could take out $400 because you only have $400 above that $2,100. So for me, I do not like buffers because again, that first $2,100 that you make in your account is essentially useless, right? Because you have to spend your time, building up a buffer and making this money, and this money you can never take it out of your account or anything like that. So for me, I really do truly hate buffers. But the buffer in the Pro account is $2,100. So a decent buffer that you have to build up there before you actually even can take a payout, versus the Lucid Flex. It does not have a buffer, so this is absolutely fire right here. Now in the Lucid Direct, you don't technically have a buffer, but just know that you do have to reach that $3,000 in target every single pay cycle. So it's not necessarily a buffer, but you do have to reach this target of $3,000 before you can take a payout, right? But it's not exactly a buffer like it is here, where you can only take out anything above this $2,100. Now for the maximum position size on every single account is going to be 4 minis or 40 micros. The drawdown type on every single account in both the eval and the funded stage is going to be end of day. So again, absolutely great right there. Now for the minimum days to pay out on the Lucid Pro, you have to have 5 days of at least $100 to get a payout, right? For the Lucid Flex, you have to have 5 days of at least $150 to get a payout. And for the Lucid Direct, you have to have 8 days of $1 or more. So basically just trade at all for 8 days, as long as you reach that profit target to actually get the payout, right? But just note that it's significantly longer there at 8 days versus 5 days on all the other accounts. Now the minimum payout on all the accounts across the board is going to be $500. So that is the minimum you can request on all accounts across the board. And the maximum payout that you can request on the Lucid Pro is going to be $1,500 for the first 1 to 2 payouts. So the Lucid Flex is going to be 50% of profit up to $2,000 on your payouts. And then the Lucid Direct is going to be $2,000 max payout on your first 1 to 3 payouts. Now for both the Pro and the Direct, it does increase as you take more payouts over time, but I'm just focused on the first 1 to 2 payouts, as this is going to be most people's goal when you're going to be getting started. Now, which account is best, the Flex, the Pro, or the Direct? Now for me, for most people, I would say that the Flex is better due to the extremely better payout rules, because they have no consistency rule once you actually get into the funded stage and no buffer to get payouts. So for me, these two things combined, no consistency rule in the funded stage and no buffer. Buffer is really going to kill most people's profits and chance of getting a payout, because again, in the Pro account, you have to make that $2,100, and it's just basically a waste of time, because you don't actually get to take that money out or anything like that, and then you can only take out money on top of the buffer. So buffers are really, really tough in my opinion, and the Flex is just better in my opinion. But if you just want to focus on passing in 1 day and 1 quick trade, then I would say the Pro is better. If you just really hate, having to pass an eval in 2 days as opposed to 1 day, then you could get the Pro. But other than that, I would just say the Flex is better in my opinion. And for me, I don't really like to trade direct accounts due to extremely restrictive rules. If you like direct accounts, that's totally fine. But yes, again, for most people, I would recommend the Flex accounts. But I want to leave you with this, and I say this at the end of all my prop firm videos. Prop firms are just tools. You want to think of prop firms like training wheels on a bike. Just like in crypto, I used to trade crypto. We used to say not your keys, not your crypto. But with prop firms, I like to say not your capital, not your profits. You want to always aim to build your own account. That's the real freedom and the real goal. We We don't really know what's happening behind the scenes with any prop firm, whether that be Lucid, Topstep, or any prop firm out there, right? We really don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We just take advantage of these opportunities that they present for us to become better traders and bring capital into our own accounts. The end goal is always to grow your own account and become a better trader. So if you enjoyed that video, again, you can use the code DanteTrades to save massively on your Lucid accounts. You can get a 100% free futures trading course. Link to that will be in the description. And if you want to check out the premium community, you can also check that out as well. Other than that, like, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you guys in the next video.